All right, let's check it out.
After getting a nice workout in, go check out the fitness journey on Wade's World. A ton of completely different but also super cool stuff we're doing over at that channel. But I go to sleep and wake up to all-out chaos regarding Misfits Boxing and the Professional Boxing Association. Their longtime partner, I would say, as a commission for all of their UK events, and now the partnership's off. This thing is completely done for. Misfits is going its own way, which I think we all kind of knew was going to be the case, but it's all happening right in front of my eyes. So it's time for the breakdown. Let's go. All right, so like I said, I woke up and saw this. We actually covered it a little bit on the Breakdown podcast, so you guys can go check that video out, but I wanted to get more in depth here. So I'm looking at this tweet from Happy Punch, and it says, the PBA is holding a hearing for Ed Matthews following serious steroid use allegations. He's scheduled to headline Misfits 12 in 8 days. Now, again, that's just the headline, so here's the actual text in the tweet. From the PBA, a disciplinary hearing for Mr. Ed Matthews has been scheduled for January 18th, 2024 at 4 p.m. During this hearing, consideration will be given to assess whether he is a fit and proper person to hold a PBA boxer license in light of recent serious allegations made against him. Just before we go any further, this is kind of insane. Let me get this straight. The PBA is holding a disciplinary hearing for allegations of steroid usage, and I'm assuming they've gotten these allegations somehow. This is not a positive test or a previous positive test that Ed has had through any of his fights, at least not that I'm aware of. If that's the case, then
that's what I'm saying.
Fair play, so discipline the shit out of the guy.
Test?
He's
like they didn't
positive
test him
on anybody's
platform. They're just saying, oh, cool. Somebody said he's on steroids, so now we're gonna
committee hearing for allegations of steroid use. Like they're gonna try to either get this guy to admit that he's using them without testing him, or you are the commission. You could just test. I hope people understand how nonsensical that statement is. I've tried to tell you guys for a while that the PBA is a bit of a clown show. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, that's what it is. They don't do things that a organization like the BBBFC does. They try to emulate them to a degree, but even the finer details of what it is that they do are always marred in controversy or gray area, and something like this, where even just the first tweet, before we get into the back and forth that they had with Mams Taylor, they're holding a disciplinary hearing for a guy they haven't tested. And listen, I'm the first guy talking about fighter safety. If Ed is on steroids, fuck out of here. It's over with, right? But we're 8 days away, and you want to hold the hearing for 2 days before the event. You could just do that now. You could just, I mean, I don't know what this hearing's about, but you could just test the guy, see if he's on the juice right now. If he's not, cool, no big deal. If you have some issues with what he's doing out of camp, or you think he's on some things while he's not and cycling off them beforehand, then you could ask Misfits and work together to create a...
I'll never understand, because in my head, I assume that they like randomly drug test boxers. Like I'm not like somebody who's like super just knowledgeable in the sport of boxing whatsoever. I barely have any knowledge at all. I just learned what what do you call it? I don't even understand what I'm saying right now. But anyway, I thought that they were getting drug tested like every 2 weeks or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like in my head, it would make the most sense that right before the camp, drug test. A couple weeks into the camp, drug test. Another couple weeks into the camp, drug test. Right as they're about to finish the camp, drug test. If the levels don't line up through all those tests, we're not allowing this nigga to fight. So that's where I'm like completely confused. I don't understand.
Testing protocol for outside of camp training. It's really not very hard to do, but this right away reads like a company that jumped the gun on allegations that they don't have proof for, and instead of testing the individual, and again, they could have had prior tests from Ed that said, oh, Ed is on some stuff, or there's some elevated levels here, we might want to take a look at that. But if they don't have that and they're going off allegations that Ed is potentially using instead of testing him, that is a terrible look, because you are the testing body. Just test him. So all of this just reads weird to me. Like, we're gonna have it 2 days before the event, even though you could just do that now. We have a disciplinary hearing for a guy that has allegations of usage because of Ed's apparent usage of PEDs before he ever started boxing, which I think he's admitted to on a TikTok or something from years and years back. But instead of going through this word vomit of Professional Boxing Association license and serious allegation, you could just test the guy. It's really that simple. They're making this more than it needs to be, and I think it's because, again, something I've told you guys about the PBA previously is they like to interject themselves in ways that most commissions will not. It's a little bit of an attention grab. And then someone asked Mams after this if they were going to be fighting, because Ed has now gotten this rumor of steroid usage. What's going on? Because again, when a commission just comes out and says something, leaves a ton of gray area as to what the a disciplinary hearing is, why they're doing it if there's just allegations of use and they haven't tested him, and why they're doing it 2 days before the fight. Obviously, fans are going to have questions. So someone asked Mams, so is it still on? I heard rumors that Ed fighting might be in jeopardy. Mams said, not in jeopardy, not one bit. Okay, simple enough, right? Not a huge deal. But then about an hour later, apparently, Mams said, F it, I've had enough of these people at the PBA, because he puts out a statement and says, Misfits Boxing are excited to partner with a new governing body. Things are going to be great. Fairness, transparency, and testing are all going to be a big part of this moving forward. New judging system will be in place starting Misfits 13-14. So that is officially the end of the Misfits.
Okay, but like, what do they mean by transparency, bro? Because I be feeling like they be making these giant like reveals. Like, why can't we just say, hey, this is what's going on? Like, what's going on? Like, I don't understand. Like, the transparency to me is like somebody coming on, like somebody like Mams, and being like, hey, this is what's going on. These niggas want hella attention. We not gonna give it to them. You know what I'm saying? They out here talking crazy about us, talking like we don't know what we're doing. We're not professional, blaza, 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 blaza. But really, this is how it's going. We've demanded that they drug test people. They don't want to do drug tests. We've demanded that they do this. They don't want to do that. They don't want to, like, you know what I'm saying, support us in this way or this fashion. So that's why we're switching up. Like, that's transparency to me. Every time any of these people make like a public talk or something, or like a announcement, it's always in like a very well worded way of almost being confusing. Like, I could take it this way, but at the same time I could probably take it that way. Like, who's the governing body? Who have they already announced that? Am I just late? Like, what's going on?
PBA era, an hour after this whole back and forth happened, and this tells me that this has been brewing for a while. This isn't just over Ed Matthews and some steroid allegations. There seems to be some deep-seated and deep-rooted disagreements between Misfits and the PBA, and I don't know if that's the three things that Mams said there: fairness, transparency, testing, maybe a judging system that they want to implement that PBA is not going to do, because Mams is looking to, in his words, revolutionize boxing scoring. So maybe they didn't want to be on board with that. And I do need to say this before we even move on. The PBA is not needed for influencer boxing. It is helpful. It is the right move to have a governing body partner with the promotion, because it does bring you things like testing for PEDs, which we absolutely should have. An organization that's going to help with the...
But can't they just send them niggas to like First Med? Like, I don't, like, can you just pay a drug testing company to just go in and randomly drug test every once in a while and make the fighters sign a contract that says, hey, if these niggas show up, I'll piss in the cup? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really get it. And like, of course they not tested for weed and stuff like that, but like, hey, we just want to find out if you out here doping meth and maybe some type of extreme type of steroid or something. We want to figure that out. Is it more of a legitimacy thing? Like, does having like a PBA or somebody attached to your brand, does that make it more legitimate in other people's eyes? You know what I'm saying? But if the whole point is to revolutionize and be different, then don't you want to go against the grain? So is that what we're seeing now, is like Misfits realizing like, I want to go against the grain, I should have went this way, but we messed up and started going in this path, so now we're like correcting? Is that what's happening?
The corralling of fighters and making sure that everyone is on the correct way, using the correct protocols to make sure certain weight classes are abided by, and also providing judges and referees and cutmen and all of these things to be able to provide safety and fairness hopefully, in a boxing match. You do want those things. You can hire them independently, but a governing body that's already set up makes it a lot easier. But the PBA are not the only governing body for white-collar boxing in the UK. This is something that you guys should know by now. The ISKA is who sanctioned Kingpin and worked with Austin McBroom and Social Gloves. They've done stuff with influencer boxing before. And sure, they've had their own issues, the Gibbs scorecard, and those things happen in combat sports, but you don't have this level of pettiness coming out of them as an organization to go back and forth with the promoter that they're trying to partner with or previously were. But now that this divorce is happening, apparently all the dirty laundry is being aired, because now the PBA responds to Mams, I guess, feeling attacked by that, I guess. And they say Misfits Boxing, due to the clear violations of PBA's rules and regulations, bringing boxing into disrepute, and in the interest of boxer safety, Misfits Boxing promoter's license have now been suspended. And here we go with this shit. Disciplinary hearings will follow for such license holders. What the are these disciplinary hearings? Who gives a shit about them? It's like in America, it's like the NCAA, right? The National Collegiate Athletic Association, putting down hearings and sanctions on people, even though they're not regulated by any sort of actual government entity. They only hold the power within their small little circle. They create a role for themselves and then wield some sort of discipline as if it is in any way official or merited. And again, if this was a legitimate boxing association, if it was the BBBFC, if it was the Nevada State Athletic Commission, if it was the
Jesus Christ, the word
boxing association, if it was the BBBFC, if it
fuck no. This is what's wrong with the fucking world right here. These niggas was literally watching boxing when that shit was in black and white. They can barely see color now in this day and age. This nigga can't even walk. He had to get placed here. So they got Joe Biden out here. Fuck, what the fuck is happening? What the fuck? You can't even have a conversation with these old ass niggas. They don't understand influencer boxing. What? Ain't no way you can tell me that these niggas got any idea what's going on in the world right now. There's no way, dude. What? Look at all these old school ties. Like, what is happening right now, bro? What is happening right now? This nigga, what? No, bro, this is the thing, bro. I think they should get a bunch of these young guys who have like not necessarily stopped fighting, but are heavily respected in the fight community. They should take those guys and they should say, hey, talking to the community, do you guys respect these guys and their opinions? Somebody like the small council, somebody like, you know what I'm saying, all of the people on the small council, and then maybe they come together and say, hey, how about we judge? Like, how about we judge and figure this out? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are they getting people who literally have no idea about what's actually happening in the scene itself? This is insane. This is insane to me. This is insane to me. This nigga was alive. Oh my God. Like they were, you had to listen to a fight on a radio when these niggas was alive. I'm saying when they were alive, because they literally all look dead right now. This is insane. This is insane.
It was the Nevada State Athletic Commission, if it was the California's, if it was any actual governed boxing association, then I would say, okay, let's see what the rules and regulations issues are. Let's see, again, what issues the promoter is having with the commission. What's the big deal in between? Is the promoter trying to hide something? Is the commission concerned about XYZ? In this case, though, it just feels like a commission and a promoter going back and forth over who's going to have more power or what power play is going to ultimately overarch the other. And the PBA having no leg to stand on in that argument. Misfits doesn't need them for any of this. And so to act like their disciplinary hearings or their license and promoter regulation bullshit means anything, it doesn't. It doesn't mean a thing. And doing this just burns a bridge with one company that would work with them and hopefully elevate them in the eyes of the BBBFC so that one day they could be taken seriously by people in pro boxing as well as white collar boxing. But doing stuff like this with, again, a lot of gray area and no factual anything behind it, like it'd be one thing if the PBA dropped a fact on us, like, yo, Ed tested positive and Misfits is still trying to let him fight. Okay.
There we go.
That's a fact.
Now we're having a conversation.
That shit can't happen. I don't know what this
that's
gray
the
area
kind of
is
stuff
they're
I want
talking
to
about.
hear.
They're violating rules and regulations,
okay,
and they're going to need suspensions and disciplinary hearings. It's all gray area bullshit. It doesn't show us anything. If you're going to come out and make a statement, you better have something with it for us to say, okay, this makes sense as to why they are making statements. Other than, we don't want to look bad because Misfits isn't working with us. So Mams then tweeted, as this thing was going down, he took to the subtweet, which Mams is known to do, fair play. And so Mams said this on Twitter: "Once upon a time, I dated this girl who kept doing messed up things. I dumped her, then started dating someone else. Weeks later, she tweets, 'It's over, Mams, I can't take it anymore.'" So obviously referring to the PBA. The part that's interesting about this tweet isn't the nursery rhyme freaking fairy tale story that
he said, we've been dropped y'all.
Later, as in this has already been something in talks.
They're just now speaking on it though.
Working at the PBA and they haven't been for weeks. This, again, like I thought, was not an isolated incident with Ed Matthews. And again, if they haven't been working with the PBA for weeks, that makes the PBA's tweet even more weird. Like they were essentially going to be sanctioning the fight anyway. Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
They're choosing to be the one.
We're running diatribes on Twitter like Ed Matthews has got serious allegations of steroid usage and is going to now face disciplinary hearings. If they weren't actually sanctioning the event, that's even.
Is it like a jealousy thing? Like they're mad that they're not sanctioning it anymore, so now they're trying to like give Misfits bad publicity in order to like ruin the event? Is that what's happening?
More diluted for a company to do, because one, you're not regulating the event. You have nothing to do with the event, yet you're tweeting about the event. So if what Mams is saying is true here, and the PBA was just acting as if they were a part of things that they weren't, just to, again, from what it looks like, put out a narrative that Ed was using steroids. If that's true or not, who knows? But they had nothing to do with it and would not have been able to test him regardless. That is a scumbag move from a company that, again, seems like they want to take pot shots more than actually do their job. I know that everybody expects me to come over here and shit on Misfits, which, by the way, I've never really done. I've never like come out and been like, Misfits. That's not what I do. I think that they do a good job over there. In this case specifically, if this is the timeline of events and Misfits hasn't been working with the PBA and isn't planning to for this event going forward, and the PBA is still out here tweeting like a side chick, that's not Misfits' fault. That's some unprofessional, low-hanging fruit from a commission that has nothing to do with who Misfits works with unless they're under contract with them for said events. Again, it just feels like an attention play. And let's not forget that the PBA, I'm pretty sure the same commission that pushes those ICB belts as their belts to be used on promotions for white collar events and is adamant about like people using them as if anybody takes that shit serious. And I could be wrong, but I have a feeling that's a part of this too. That Misfits decided to use their belts, and the freaking PBA wanted them to use the ICB belts, and maybe that was another fork in the road, which again is probably one of many things I assume has gotten us to this point. But here's a very interesting part of this, and this is what we covered on the breakdown.
Because that's all, I mean, in a way, like they said, that's why I'm like so confused, because it's like, if you're like, I think there had to be something, bro. There had to be like something in the like listing or something in like whatever the heck is going on with Misfits where they needed like a governing body to get in somewhere or like to get a deal in some way. So it's almost like they just signed with the PBA to get that done. And then once they got that done, they were like, all right, bet, now we're going to like wait until like maybe a contract is up or wait until it comes to like rediscussing or or what do you call it? Like contract negotiations or something for like the next year. And they were like, all right, when that happens, we'll just drop them. Cause it's like, why would you not? Like, if you are working with them as a governing body, why would you not want to use their systems? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you want to use one system and not the other? Especially if it's like a system that you yourself can create something for. Like, was it cheaper for Misfits to go in the route of hiring the PBA or allowing the PBA to like govern them technically instead of doing everything out on their own to start? Is that what it was? Like, what is it? I don't really understand that. And then two, yeah, I don't know. I don't really understand how all that breaks down.
That I wanted to really get into more depth with. This person named Vivek here on Twitter says, so you're gonna let Ed fight when he's probably on steroids? And Mams comes back and says this: no, it was solely the PBA who made the decision not to test Ed for his last fight. That was not in our hands. This was under their supervision only, and that's the irony.
So this video was made 4 days ago, which means this tweet was probably 5 days ago. And it says will be tested. So like my thing is like you can take steroids and then like have like a doctor or somebody like slowly giving you like blood transfusions and all like those things that like, what's his name? Oh God, I think it was the guy who rode the bike, chat. What was his name? The guy who rode the bike. And what he was doing was he would have these transfusions to where they literally take and they like your blood goes through this machine and it gets like cleaned and then like pumped back into your body. They like remove all of the like impurities and oxygen out of the blood and then like pump it back into you. And it's almost like it can like slowly take all of that stuff out of your system. You know what I'm saying? Like Lance Armstrong. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can take steroids all the way through camp, but you just can't have like steroids in your system like right before the fight. I don't know. This is where I get like confused because it's like in my head that just defeats the whole purpose of it. Like I want to see niggas like the day they sign the contract for the fight, test. 2 weeks after they sign the contract, test. 2 weeks later, test. 2 weeks later, test. 2 weeks later, test. Like test. Like there should be these conversations wouldn't even happen if they were actually doing things in like in my head like a right way. You know what I'm saying? Like if they were actually like follow, because then all Mams would have to do is be like, look, we tested this nigga 2 weeks ago. Here you go. This is what the PBA should have been doing, but this is how we're handling it. Here's the test right here. This is what it says is in the system. He ain't got no levels of this. He ain't got no levels of that. This known drug, that known drug, blah, 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 blah. But like, ain't nobody got no tests. So how do we know this nigga's not on steroids if we ain't tested this nigga? You know what I'm saying? Like, how can Mams come out and say, we don't know, like, it's not in our hands? Like, I don't really understand that. It's almost like he was like, we don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? Like in my head, that's where I'm at with it. Like, was he just like, fuck it. It is what it is. Like, if the council, the governing body, they said they ain't care about testing him, so we just ain't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand how that works.
Ed will be tested for this fight 100%. This is the thing that I have hinted at for a very long time, but again, because I am not someone to air out people's business, I didn't want to necessarily bring up, because once you rip the Band-Aid off, listen, that motherfucker's got to come off. I heard for months and months and months from multiple fighters that they weren't tested by the PBA. Face Sensei and I talked about.
Oh, so niggas was yes, this dude right here. Didn't he literally came out and said he was on steroids. Oh God, that's crazy. That's crazy. So ain't nobody really been getting tested for nothing. That's like so confusing to me, bro. Cause it's like, I don't know.
About it on our show about his experience with the PBA. Apparently what they had been doing was randomly testing specific fighters from their card. Sometimes the main event guy, sometimes maybe not. And that's not the kind of random drug testing that you should be proud of.
That's not what that's called.
The random drug testing is something that you would do outside of camp and popping up on someone and testing them while they're not expecting to be tested. What apparently was happening with the PBA, again, from Mams Taylor, some of the guys were not tested at all. That means, sure, your medicals get done, but we're talking not even the baseline urine test for some of these people. So they almost make it impossible on themselves to catch anyone if they're actually using. And the irony of this thing is how we've come full circle in this video is because what Mams Taylor just said, the irony of the whole Ed Matthews situation, this all coming to light today. The PBA starts out with, we're going to need to sit down with Ed Matthews at a disciplinary hearing 2 days before his event to judge whether he is fit for a PBA boxing license. Knowing, apparently, again, according to Mams, they're not even involved with the event, that Ed is being put under this disciplinary hearing because he's suspected or there is allegations of steroid usage. All the while, the last time Ed was on their card in the UK, the Prime card, they didn't even test it. So you didn't have any suspicions then. The last part of last year. But a month later, you're suspicious to the point where you need to sit down with Ed in the disciplinary committee. You let him walk out there and knock Swarms the fuck out in 30 seconds, and now you're suspicious. That, my friends, is what we call a contradiction. That is a bad,
very bad. That's what I've been trying to understand this whole time. Like, you literally, like, I don't understand, bro. I don't understand it. I don't get it at all. I don't get it at all. Like, how is it that how is it that they allowed it to go on, and then now they saying that it was Misfits' fault? Like they trying to say like, oh, we ain't been doing our jobs because of Misfits. Like, is that what they saying? I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I don't get it at all. And then if I was a fighter, if I'm any of these fighters, this is how you, in my head at least, this is how you know a lot of these people, like, this is how I feel like this at least. Let me put it this way. I feel like a lot of these fighters have a decent amount of respect for Mams and JJ and Misfits in general, like the people in the background, because if I'm a fighter and all this stuff happens, I'm literally being like, all right, bet. As soon as I get in the ring and then I find out homeboy ain't get tested, I know I didn't get tested, then I'm literally, I'm suing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm suing. That's because it's like, ain't that what they supposed to be doing? So like, what? How come none of that's happening? Like, is everybody on steroids? Like, is that why they're not mad that they're not like test? Like, I don't. Cause like me, in my head, I'm thinking if I'm going in the ring and I'm about to fight somebody, like say if it's even like Swarm, say if it's any of them niggas, if I'm going in the ring and I know I'm not getting tested, my main question as soon as I get to the press conference is, hey, I wasn't tested. This nigga looks huge. What's going on? Y'all ain't tested nobody? I be asking everybody, like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? I'm supposed to get in the ring, put my life on the line, but yet I don't get it. And I swear, wasn't Swarm saying that homeboy was on steroids during their fight lead up? Like, I swear he was saying that. He was saying he was on something like steroids or coke or something like that. So it's like, what? Nobody getting drug tested. But they were saying the same thing about Ryan Matthews, right?
Bad look, man, for multiple reasons. One, how are you going to take yourself seriously as a boxing commission when you are the ones making these decisions on apparently not just how testing goes, but even who is tested? For then you to use the fact that you didn't test someone months ago to come back and paint a picture to the public that you're testing Ed, or you're going to have Ed in some disciplinary committee in the hopes of preserving fighter safety and integrity in your commission. That's what we call bullshit, bro. And on top of that, you're airing out dirty laundry on social media. This could have easily been handled behind the scenes. If you had a problem with whatever it was, if it was Ed and you guys had some sort of actual reasoning for calling him into a disciplinary hearing, not just allegations. If they're allegations, it's a simple process. You test him. Allegations, test, result. That's it.
See, the only reason why I don't really question Logan's steroid use, bro, is because I feel like okay. Listen, I've been watching Logan Paul, bro, since like I was in school type shit. You understand what I'm saying? I'm an old nigga. And that nigga has always been huge. Okay? We've seen him work out. We've seen the people that he hires on his teams, the different people that, you know what I'm saying, the work ethic that he has in general. Like, somebody that's able to get up every day and get 2 million views on a vlog upload daily, come up with a new story, a new drop every day, bro. And then we see him take time off and then him come back and just being ripped up. Like, I like, because of the fact that he did get big, you know what I'm saying? Like, he got a little bit bigger and cut up. He always been an athletic ass motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know anymore. Cause I'm not gonna lie to you. The reason why I never questioned a lot of these niggas in their steroid use is because I thought they were being drug tested. But now I'm questioning it all, bro. Like, now I don't know, is everybody on steroids? Like, who, like, we gotta question everybody. Like, is that why nobody cared to test anybody? Like, literally, is everyone on steroid? Like, I don't know. All I'm saying is, I'm gonna be completely upfront honest with y'all niggas, bro. I'm a fat nigga right now. You know what I'm saying? I've been getting my workout on, but I go to the gym, I be tired. I be mad tired. You know what I'm saying? I be mad tired. These niggas get up 6 a.m., go for a fucking 2-3 mile run. 9 a.m., another workout. 2 p.m. hitting the pads. 8 p.m. they running again. You know what I'm saying? Now, listen, when I was doing stuff like that, when I first started getting into my whole like personal training stuff and all that, niggas wasn't on steroids, but I was still going to the gym for 2 hours, you know what I'm saying, twice a day. We was going to the gym when we got bored. Like, we go to the gym, take a shower, I text my nigga John like, hey, bro, I'm not even gonna lie to you. We could go get it again. Pause. Hella sus. Anyway, we could go right back in there and work out. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I could do it, but at the same time, I'm telling y'all right now, I've wrestled with my dad before. And the day after, I'm like, shit, nigga. Shit, I'm sore. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm hurting. So, like, knowing that niggas is in the gym getting beat up on 3 times a week, something's got to be bringing them back to life. You know what I mean? Something, like, they got to be on something. You know what I mean? Or, because, like, think about it. These niggas are boxing and have never boxed before. Like, literally never boxed before. Like, these niggas have never, like, they are doing things in a ring that people have done their whole lives. Look at JJ. JJ got in the ring with a dude who literally came out of the womb fighting. He came out of the womb into a boxing family. And every day, this nigga was working. And he lasted the entire fight against somebody who has all of, like, that alone is like, what the fuck? I had to question everything. Now, again, it's not like homeboy Tommy Fury is actually like the pinnacle of boxing, but at the same time, if I come in after doing something for 2 years against somebody who's been doing it for 15 years, how the fuck are we even at the same level? Like how can niggas say that we're even on the same? Like, it's like when people be trying to compare like Michael Jackson to fucking Drake, or like the Beatles to Drake. Like, it's like nigga, how are we having that conversation? I don't know, bro. I don't know. So you're weak and lazy. What are you saying? What are you saying? How's that, like, what? Okay.
Not allegations, disciplinary hearing. We need to determine and then fight, test, result, backtrack. That's not how this works. And again, I don't think that was the only thing. If you had an issue with your ICB belts not being used on the promotion, if you had an issue with MAMS wanting to restructure scoring systems for boxing based on a little bit of what he considers the inequity of boxing judging scoring, or it's a conflict of interest because he is the promoter. And the biggest controversy that people have been talking about in the last few months is another promoter in KSI who's the CEO of the company that he's fighting on in the main event. That's fine, but you deal with it behind the scenes. And if you can't come to an agreement and Misfits decides to go elsewhere, that isn't the token that you use to start firing off shots and flare guns talking about rules violations, disciplinary hearings, and serious steroid allegations when you don't have any concrete evidence for these things, or at least none that you've brought to the public. So again, what was the point for the tweet? What was the point of talking about it publicly if there is no proof for the things that you're saying? If there's no reason for these things, it doesn't scream professionality, it screams attention and airing dirty laundry that, again, is done for no reason and will build you no relationships in this scene. You guys know that I won't hold my tongue when it comes to criticism of anything, Misfits included. I've been one of the loudest people criticizing Misfits where I think they either overstep or go wrong and try to, in my own way, correct course for the scene. But this one's not on them, at least not to me. And I don't know what the reasoning is outside of the judging system that Mams Taylor wants to leave the PBA, but it seems like the more times we get these subtweets and these social media outbursts from the commission, that it's only going to get worse. So I think it's probably best done this way. But Mams had one more tweet and he said, for anybody who had doubt, This has been in the works long before today. And this is a tweet from December 20th, must have January 20th sanctioned by, and I'm assuming that's another governing body they're going to use that he's marked out there. New rules, fine by March, we start ASAP. And again, like I said, I just think it's really simple what the right course of action was here. It wasn't what the PBA did, and now that you find out more information about why it is that they potentially did come out and start accusing Ed Matthews of this and accusing Misfits Boxing of that, this seems like, unfortunately, a scorned lover. I'm going to be honest. That's what it seems like here. You don't see this kind of thing from any other organization. You don't see it from, like I said, the Nevada State Athletic Commission. You don't see it from the BBBFC going off on a tangent about things that are not proven and that they don't have anything to back up, at least publicly, the things that they're saying. So all in all, I think this was a little bit of an exposure of the PBA that I think a lot of people have not gotten the insight into how it is that they operate.
It's facts. It makes them look stupid. It makes them look stupid, like an angry, like just exactly what Mams said. It makes them look like an angry ex-girlfriend or something. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm not understanding it, bro.
Foot in their mouth.
I want to understand so bad.
The PBA has issues with their refereeing system or their scoring system. That's all opinionated. That's my opinion versus yours. That stuff isn't the biggest deal. The biggest deal of this is their constant need for attention. Their constant need for people to look at them as something serious when they operate behind the scenes and now in the full view of the public like they are not. I think Misfits won't have an issue getting sanctioned by any other of these amateur or white-collar governing bodies like the ISKA, or I'm sure many others, because again, you don't really need to be sanctioned in influencer boxing, but for safety protocol, for drug testing purposes, for providing judges and officials and cutmen, EMT, hospital, all that stuff, it is more organized and it is a better look to the public that you're partnering.
Was that weird? Why? Why when he said drug testing, did they bring up the clip of JJ? Why? Have you guys seen the Key and Peele sketch where the cameraman is talking and he's like, it's okay to be gay, and then it like the cameraman like zooms in on the guy sitting in the chair, and every time they mention like anything gay, the cameraman goes to him and he's like, what the fuck? Like, why are you putting the camera on me? Like, like that's literally what I just like. What was that? That was so weird. Is he saying that JJ's on steroids?
With someone instead of hand-picking judges, because that can become a conflict of interest. So we'll see if Misfits goes off and picks their own judges and they're Misfits judges provided by Mams Taylor, then I'll be the first to call that out. But I don't think that's the case here. I think it was just, again, business that wasn't working out, that could have been left unsaid in public, that unfortunately turned into dirty laundry. That's all I got, man. What do you guys think? Is Misfits in the wrong here? Is PBA in the wrong here?
I think they're both in the wrong, honestly.
Is this going to help or
neither
hurt
one of them were really giving any type of transparency.
Was this the right move for both to separate? I don't have
But I would say
answers,
Misfits is just too big to fail right now, to be honest.
We'll be live here on the channel. I know I haven't covered it much, but we'll start ramping that up soon, and guess we'll find out.
I'm here to see it, King. Keep doing your thing, man. That little snap to JJ was kind of crazy, though. I can't cap.